So I'm definitely off center compared to the way that I usually sit. If this works out, you'll find out why. Ciao, Bianconeri, and welcome back to the Bianconeri Zone. My name is Justin Sofro. Today is Saturday, June 19th, 2021. And before we do anything, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe to the channel. So like the video, subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell while you're at it so you can get notifications for us going forward. So we'll start out. We'll go ahead and jump into the news, see what we have for you today. So it's surprisingly pretty packed for a Saturday. Usually we're pretty slow when it comes to the weekend, but we actually got quite a bit of news, so we'll run through that now. Starting off, first off, what we have is Mirko Di Natale talking about Locatelli is saying that a few days ago I spoke with sources close to Juventus and they confirmed that there is no meeting planned yet for Locatelli. I expect an acceleration, but there hasn't been an official offer yet. I know that Locatelli has already refused several offers. He only wants to go to Juventus. There was kind of a promise last year between Carnevale and the player. Locatelli was close to Juventus last season. Yeah, I remember I was one of the guys that was pushing for Locatelli last year. I honestly may have been pushing for him more than I was pushing for Chiesa, but I'm thankful we got Chiesa, and I think the partnership of him joining Juventus with Chiesa could really set us up for the future going forward. I think I remember somebody I was talking with basically was saying, I kind of feel like they could be that duo that, you know, you got the Italian background and all that, that really just instills what it means to be a true Juventus player, similar to players like, or the late Bonaparti that we lost yesterday. I think that could be, you know, what we have for going forward for them. And then Tuttosport has saying that the offer that Sassuolo would accept is likely to be around 40 million euros plus or minus and Dragusin. To me, that's, I don't know, to me that seems a little bit wild. I don't know exactly what Dragusin's numbers are and what he's worth currently, but to me that seems to be a lot for 40 million plus him. I could see maybe 35 million in him, but 40 million seems to be, I don't know. Let me know your thoughts about that. What do you think about, I know I saw a lot, I was reading through different comments from people and stuff that they were saying, and they were like, just get it done, give it to him. But I just don't know if he's being unreasonable with that amount of money that they're asking. Next story that we got going up is we're talking about Dumfries. Mirko Di Natale is saying that I'm not saying Juve will make an offer for Dumfries, but I'm telling you that in a few days we'll be reading his name being linked to Juventus and the players and the papers. So that's something we got to keep an eye on going forward. I don't really know exactly if it's a serious topic, but definitely keep your head on a swivel with that one. And then next up, we have a story about your favorite person, or everybody's favorite Italian player, Federico Bernardeschi. Gazzetta dello Sport is reporting that Bernardeschi has never hidden his desire to stay at Juventus. He has already turned down several teams in the past and is not excluded that he will do it again. So, okay. Only the Premier League, his great passion, could make him change his mind. Bernardeschi's priority remains Juventus. Mino Raiola is already at work. After the Euros, he will sit down with Federico Cherubini and to talk about the near future and a contract that expires in 2022. So I can only imagine the madness that will ensue in the well, at least Twitter, I know, will break down if Federico Bernardeschi ends up getting a new contract and remaining with the club. You know, I don't know how many people maybe are, you know, I don't want to say second guessing, but going back on their, you know, what they preferred and what they asked for with getting Allegri back, and then some of these moves that are being rumored, including Pjanic and stuff like that. Maybe going backwards rather than forwards. You know, I need to sit back and just, I feel like, you know, regardless of the season, Bernardeschi's probably not going to get sold right now. So I want to sit back, see what he does with him. My hopes are through the floor right now. So if he even does a little bit, I'll be impressed. But at the same time, I can't see him being a player that remains at Juventus and has a future with the club right now. So we'll see what happens, but just pay attention. Bernardeschi may not be going anywhere. And then next up, Mirko Di Natale is reporting that some De Sciglio news, saying that Lyon won't be able to finalize the purchase of De Sciglio because of a too high economic valuation for the player. Juventus values the player around 6 to 7 million euros. We'll have to understand if he'll be able to get any other offers. So more wrenches being thrown in Juventus's market strategy in the future, the plans for the club when you have these players that are just too expensive, or at least Juventus is paying too much to these players that they just can't offload them. So hopefully something will get worked out, and hopefully so that way we don't have to worry about DeShilia returning. We've had rumors about that coming up. But unfortunately, that's a lot of the news that we have when it comes to, I would think most Juventus fans are getting pretty used to this the last few years of just these weights that are holding down the club. Mirko Di Natale is also saying that Ramsey is one of the first names Juventus will want to move on from. Again, same news every day. They just keep reporting the same kind of stuff, but it's important to cover it just so that way we see what the demand is, see if anything grows from there. But he's saying that he is a high demand in the Premier League. There is an interest from Crystal Palace, West Ham, Aston Villa, and Liverpool. So those are some new names, or a couple of new names popping up, because before I believe it was just like Crystal Palace and West Ham. So hopefully we'll see what happens. And then Gazzetta dello Sport is reporting that Arsenal now have joined West Ham and Crystal Palace in their interest of bringing Ramsey back to the Premier League. And so if Arsenal is serious about this would be a huge boost for, positive for Juventus, because one, we know that Ramsey would love to go back to Arsenal, and we know that that's a place that he could be at home with and be happy with, and maybe move this along quicker. At least I'm hoping so. So keep an eye on that, see if those rumors start to gain some steam. And then some more negative news, maybe for certain fans of Juventus who have been looking at the midfield and picking out the players that they would prefer to have rather than the ones that are being rumored. Mirko Di Natale is reporting that this year Aouar is not in the request made by Allegri. So Houssem Aouar, if a second midfielder arrives, which I think will happen, is what he's saying, with Locatelli, it won't be the French midfielder though. So those that have been big fans of Houssem Aouar and wanting him to come and join Juventus, it's not happening this year, unfortunately. We'll see what he does. We'll see if his value goes up or down within the next season. See if maybe he could be another target in the future. The only thing that worries me is sometimes Juventus, of course, his stock was pretty high like a year ago, and now it's gone down a bit compared to what it used to be. It worries me sometimes that Juventus, instead of getting on a player like, Locatelli was last year, where his stock was, or the year before, was like 25 million or something that they wanted, and now it just keeps going up and up and up. Obviously, you want those kind of players, but to spend that kind of money when you could have had them earlier, when a lot of people, especially fans, recognize the ability of those players early on. And then Di Marzio is going on and saying that Frabotta is close to joining Genoa on loan with an option to buy. Juventus will have a buyback option with the player, which is good in case he takes off. I love when they put in these deals, just in case it's an option of, well, we can offload him and they can whatever. But if he pops off, bring him on back and see what he can do for the club. Kind of interesting though, especially since rumors were Frabotta was one of the players that was looked at with for the Locatelli deal with Sassuolo, but I'm guessing maybe they've honed in on Dragusin's the one player that they really want. So maybe we won't have to worry about Nicky Beans for Jolie going anywhere right now. And then we have more new. Mirko Di Natale's on fire right here with these rumors. So the next thing we have is a Demiral rumor from him saying that Atalanta has approached Demiral. They have expressed their desire to welcome him, but at the moment, Atalanta is not willing to accept Juve's demands for the player. Juve want 35 to 40 million euros. To me, if you're Atalanta, you got to be reasonable. Demiral, well, I understand also maybe his stock maybe has taken a little bit of a hit during the Euros right now, and some of his or lack of playing time last year. But I'm hoping Juventus stays pretty firm on this and is able to get a decent amount for the player, because I don't want to take any cuts, especially right now when you don't have a lot of options for sales that are going to go through. He's like actually a player that can bring in some cash. That doesn't really, that you're not trying to force out on your own. He's someone that actually has suitors coming to him. And then some more news. Di Marzio is reporting, I think it was last night he said this, that Juventus could keep Luca Pellegrini, as a backup to Alexandro. So some fans, that's a good thing. Some fans, it's a bad thing. I think a lot of people saw his play at the end or throughout last season and were super impressed. But then I know also a lot of people have been pretty big on wanting to have that Italian player come back to the club and prove himself, see what he can do in Juventus in our scheme. So that's something to keep an eye on. I think this is kind of a rumor too, though, that like pops up pretty often. and then it fades out pretty quick. So we'll see what happens with that. So keep an eye on it. Giovanni Albanese is reporting that, okay, and this is one where I'm thankful because I think there was another report yesterday that was like, I think a couple indies were pushing it, saying that Juventus really wants to, sign this 2-year loan deal, whatever kind of thing. And then it's like a priority. If it's a priority, then we've got problems. But Albanese is saying that according to reports, Miralem Pjanic is not part of Juventus's Mercado plans. So I think that kind of goes a lot with what we were thinking. What we should expect with the club is that they're not really. He's not a priority, and he's not really the option right now. Right now, you're trying to go after the Pogba, the Locatellis, whoever of the world. He should be in the back burner at the end of the Mercado. If they need another guy to fill a spot, then he's your option, but not right now. He shouldn't be your option right now. Okay, so then Bianconeri is saying, and I always struggle with this guy's name. I don't know why. Sorry, that's why I took a second there to pause. He's reporting, they're reporting that Cherubini and Allegri did not have Calhanoglu. See, I always do this. Calhanoglu. Anyway, the Milan player, Hakan, at the top of their priority list. He is no longer on Juventus' radar. The change of management is starting to show. So hopefully with me mispronouncing that, and I always struggle with it. I don't know why. Calhanoglu? Anyway, I'm still trying to do it, and I'm just going to keep struggling at it. Sorry, guys. Well, regardless, he's not on our list, so I don't even need to learn it right now. But I know who the player is. I've seen him play. Okay. Moving on, Leicester Mercury are reporting that in the last hours, Juventus are thinking about Tielemans. However, the English team is trying to convince Tielemans to renew his contract in order to avoid him leaving. So that's an option. It's an option we're hoping opens up. I know a lot of people are high on him as a player and hoping that they can get him. But Leicester also has quite a bit of money there in the Premier League, so they might be able to renew and make it happen. So, not that he shouldn't be a priority, but maybe don't get too excited until we see what goes on within the club there in his situation. And then the name, a lot of names that everybody's looking at, who everybody wants. Tudo Sports reporting on Pogba. They're saying that Pogba's dream, the dream of Pogba to Juventus, is getting more complicated. And then it's the name that we all dread, that we all hate to hear pop up in these situations. PSG is planning to get serious in the coming days. Juventus have never been blinded by the idea, knowing that bringing him back to Italy would have been difficult. However, the Ronaldo situation could change everything. Again, more of the same than everything we're hearing. My dream situation is, Ronaldo's not going to stay at Juventus much longer. So if you have to offload him, the perfect situation is the trade with Manchester United, if they can work something out there. I think also they're reporting that Manchester United was valuing him at about 80 million euros, which to me is ridiculous. If Ronaldo was valued at 30 million for Juventus for this last season, there's no way Pogba for one season is 80 million euros. Like, you have to be reasonable with these offers at least. Or if you're just trying to keep him from being sold, that's what you're doing, especially for one season. And then going off of that, we have Tudo Sports reporting on Leandro Paredes. He remains a name to the Juventus management and Allegri for the time now. So Allegri likes him. It's a name that's popped up in the past. We'll see if it pops up again. It's another one of those names that we throw out there just to keep an eye on, see where it goes from here. And then finally, the last bit of news that we have is Romeo Agresti is confirming reports that have been reported in the last few days or so about Pensolio, that he will stay at Juventus and will sign a contract until 2022. So we've got another year of him and his antics on the sidelines. I'm always here for it. I'm always happy to have him with the club. It's just one of those things, like, yeah, he doesn't play, but just what he brings to the club and the team, the energy and the excitement and the happiness, I'm happy to have a player like that anytime. So anyway, that's all the news I really have for you today. It was actually a pretty packed news show for Saturday. Usually it's pretty dead today. But check in tomorrow. We'll have more news, hopefully, on Sunday. And then we'll have, obviously, the Italian national team, plays tomorrow against, I believe it is Wales, correct? Yeah, and Aaron Ramsey. So we'll see what he does in that match as well. So please go ahead and like the video and subscribe to the channel, and make sure you hit that bell notification icon, as it'll notify you as soon as we drop any more videos going forward. Follow Bianconeri Zone at Bianconeri Zone on Twitter and Instagram, and follow me at Justin Sofer on Twitter. Forza Azzurri, Forza Bianconeri.